Ever feel like you're chasing results only to end up feeling empty? What if I told you that real secret to success and satisfaction lies not in the end result but the journey itself? I've had many struggles with the idea of being successful, as I've always perceived this concept as arriving at a destination as quickly as I could. However, true success doesn't lie in merely winning or arriving at a final point. I became much happier when I learned to embrace the process and appreciate every step along the way. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Kelly. So today we're gonna be doing something very different from what I usually do. Instead of vlogs, this is a new series. It's called the yapping series. So before we get started, go grab yourself a cup of tea, some popcorn to eat while I yap. Most of the time, the purpose lays within the process and not very much the result. Yes, the result matters, but the process shapes who you are as a person because it often teaches you more lessons and sparks more realizations than results do. I used to focus a lot on the results, but then recently I've learned that the process teaches me if I shifted my focus onto the results, then I wouldn't be learning as much as I do. If you think about it, the impacts we get from the process may not be direct and obvious, and it could be subtle. The skills you attain, the attitude you learn, influences you more than you're conscious of. Subconsciously, your brain is already adapting to new strategies, new skills, new methods of performing a certain task. Let me give you some examples. So with work, initially, I started working at my current job, media relations, just because I wanted to earn extra bucks because, you know, Boston's expensive. So I started working 3 jobs in my second semester because I needed money. And I've been focusing on money for the longest time. I was obsessed. I would check my bank every other Thursday to make sure I got paid. And I would feel happy and rewarded when I see the value of my bank account increase. So when I was working, I would try to speed run through all the tasks I was assigned at work, so I would have leftover time to work on school assignments. However, when I had a new goal, I started to run the social media page for my family's business because, you know, Instagram and TikTok is for the younger population, LinkedIn is for professionals. But if I wanted everyone to know about us, then it was press release. I started realizing how important it is to focus on the execution of the project, which also means the process. You'll be surprised by how much you learn when you focus on the process. You know, one of my jobs at Berklee is media relations. I oversee the entire process of drafting press releases, pitching these press releases to the right editors, and find medias that will cover the appropriate topics that I'm writing about, which supports my goal of trying to expand the online presence of the business. Because I have knowledge in this area, I can effectively repurpose it in other various contexts. So I started writing press releases and pitched them to local and international news outlets whenever the company attends prominent events. So there are several useful attributes, which includes efficiency and analytical skills. If you think about it, analytical skills lead to reflection, which in turn fosters self-learning. Now let's talk about how efficiency relates to all the impacts being analytical can lead to. So one significant aspect of efficiency is to consider the bigger picture before setting priorities while also learning about your own work habits. So the idea is kind of similar to setting a SMART goal. And if you don't know what a SMART goal is, it's a method of goal setting that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. It's designed to help individuals to create actionable and achievable objectives. And by taking into account the whole picture, you can accurately craft smaller puzzle pieces that fit together to complete the final image. Referring back to media relations, this is what it taught me. So before I dive into it, let me give you some background info on how media relations work. So the process is that first I draft press releases, and then I create a list of media outlets that likely are gonna cover the story that I'm writing about. And finally, I send out email pitches requesting for their coverage of the story. I am assigned these tasks in individual segments. Like for example, I would draft the press release first. When I was done, my supervisor would tell me to create a list, while she edits the draft, and then afterwards I will have to write email pitches. And as I became more familiar with this process, I was able to utilize my analytical skills to group the similar puzzle pieces together and work on them simultaneously to optimize time and effort. So then I started drafting press releases and email pitches concurrently and put together the media list while my supervisor is revising my writing. And when my press release and email pitches is all set, I would already have the list ready and done. The next step would be to tweak any edits slightly, then send out the email. When I first started, when I was not familiar with the system at all, because I would have to constantly send it and wait, send something and wait, that took a long time and it's not efficient at all, you know? It's not because my supervisor slow, like, don't get me wrong, I do not mean that at all, but it's just that if you're working on two similar things at the same time, you don't have to go back to the previous thing that you worked on to recall what you were doing, but instead you're working on both things at the same time and you already have a very clear idea of what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to work on. So do you see how efficient it is to acknowledge the bigger picture, to develop smaller steps and processes based on that, and then grouping alike tasks together? Now, the next topic, how I learned about my work habits during this process. I think it's about the little things, like the system, the way your brain works and stuff like that. For example, when writing a press release, I like to plan out what content I like to include in each paragraph, which is also notes that I could quickly refer to when drafting the email pitch. And then when I have every single important point down, I will transform them into professional and formal paragraphs. Yeah, so that's basically my whole process of how acquainting myself with my work habits could cause me to be more efficient. Now, juggling school, work, and social life. If you focus on the results, you neglect all the positive things you learn while you're doing something. Just like what I mentioned previously. Like, I'm a believer in balancing different endeavors in life. For example, school right now is considered my 9 to 5. Work, my on-campus jobs, is my side hustle. And social life is kind of like a therapy. Or if you prefer, you could take the time to yourself. Again, you're more efficient when you learn about your work habits, and as you're more efficient, you'd be getting things done quicker and without forgetting that you're supposed to be learning. When you're getting your things done very fast, you have more time to yourself. I actually find myself less distracted because I am so focused on trying to learn while efficiently finishing an assignment that I don't even pick up my phone during. Because of this system, I have more time for other commitments. And I think it's good to be used to balancing out different commitments in your life, just simply because I believe that your 9 to 5 can't earn you big money. Well, at least in the society that we're in right now, you know, and inflation. You'd have to do side hustles to earn more for the future when you're old enough to settle down and start your own family. I feel like managing kids and work is balance. So the point of me telling you this is that if you're focusing on the process, you learn how you work. If you know how you work fastest, you're more efficient, and when you're more efficient, you have more time. So it's like a concept of earning time. The second impact, how analytical skills can lead to millions of possibilities. Life is about analyzing to learn new skills and new knowledge. And if you think about it, you can literally learn any skill just by analyzing things. Again, back to my example of working in media relations. When my supervisor makes changes on my drafts, I don't just change it without thinking what changes are made and why are they made, what could I do better next time. I analyze these changes to get better at realizing my mistakes and then continue to refine my craft. So therefore, when I work on press releases in the future, it's much faster than the first time I'm working on it because I know what she wants, and because I've analyzed all the work before, I know exactly how to make it good, and I know what good is. Another example, my social media pursuits. I used to focus a lot on the statistics, but now I focus on the kind of content I want to create and the stories I want to tell, the impact I want to make on my audience. Hence, I started this series. That kept me so occupied that I don't even have time to think about the statistics that much, because I'm just constantly trying to come up with new ideas of how to be creative, how to impact my audience and all that. And also, it takes the pressure off. You wouldn't be so obsessed with a number. And once I focus on the process, I further develop analytical skills and watch a lot of different types of storytelling storytelling videos. After analyzing different YouTubers, I would try to find my own unique artistic voice to tell my stories the way I want it to be told. Through storytelling, I can enhance my public speaking skills and build confidence with each narrative that I share, because not gonna lie, I struggle with public speaking a lot, and at the same time my vlogs keep me accountable, so I feel encouraged to be productive. And of course, along the way I picked up new skills that open doors to new opportunities in my career, and those are more obvious. It's filming and also editing. So to sum up this video, you should embrace the process, not just the result, because growing and learning occurs during the journey towards your goals. Like, the goal is like a cherry on top. If I put my hard work into what I do and the results turn out to be good, then I would be so happy. But the things I learn, the challenges I overcome during the process really shapes me more profoundly than the outcome. You should also focus on what truly matters. Redirect your focus from the gains to passion and purpose in your work that could lead to a greater satisfaction and unexpected opportunities. And by concentrating on the quality and impact rather than the immediate rewards, you set the stage for long-term success. And also understand efficiency and the importance of it. Learning to see a bigger picture allows you to manage your time more effectively. And this approach not only saves time, but also enhances your ability to tackle complex challenges by breaking them down into small, manageable parts. And also this sparks continuous learning and adaptation, because the practice of continually and analyzing and reflecting on your actions leads to improved skills and knowledge. This mindset keeps you adaptable and prepared for various challenges in life and your career. Remember, balance is key. Maintaining a balance between work, education, personal life is essential for the overall well-being, and this balance can help you stay productive and motivated across all areas of life without burnt outs. Also, leverage every single experience, because every role and task, no matter how small it is, it could teach you something very valuable, and these lessons can be transferred and applied to other aspects of your life and enhance your versatility and resilience. Lastly, opportunity for growth is everywhere. Be open to learning new skills and exploring new opportunities. Every experience has the potential to open doors to future opportunities, to enrich your career and personal growth. So thank you so much for sticking around till the end. I know this video is just basically me yapping, and thank you so much for listening to me yap. And hopefully this video created somewhat of an impact on your life, your mindset. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in next week's video. Bye!